I had a very unpleasant experience with a client on Upwork sometime last year. A client sent me a direct DM. I didn't apply for any job. Sent me a direct DM. He said he saw my portfolio, saw my profile, and he loved my work. And he wanted me to assist him with, I think it was a PDF, like 10 pages design. So he told me, I told him, he asked if I was free. I said, of course, that I'm free to take on the project. So I had a discussion with this client. He asked for my price. I told him that I'm going to be doing it for $300. So the clients, we agreed after a little bit of back and forth. So I told him to send him the contract, to send me the contract on Upwork. And the clients wanted to send an hourly rate contract. So I told the client that I do not want an hourly rate contract, that I want $300 fixed price contract. This client insisted on sending me an hourly contract. So with my mind, I was thinking, okay, this is a genuine client. After all, he came to me. He didn't post any job. He came to me because most big clients on Upwork come directly in the DMs. They don't post jobs. So I was like, okay, cool, send. This client sent me the contract. It was an hourly rate contract. Then my hourly rate was at $10 per hour at the time. So he now told me that I should start the work whenever I'm done with the work, that I should input my hours. He set manual hours. He said I should not track my hours, that I should, you know, input the $300 and I'm going to be paid. And that is how I was scammed on Upwork from this client, because I didn't know these simple tricks, this simple rule that I'm about to show you guys on this video. And I'm sure lots of freelancers out there are still making these mistakes because they have not, maybe they've not gone through Upwork policies, or they don't know these simple rules, and they don't know these tricks that clients use to scam freelancer. Just the same way these clients use this same rule to scam me of $300 worth of work. This is not a complaint video. This video is just an eye opener to caution other freelancers and show them what to avoid on Upwork, what to do and what not to do. So why couldn't Upwork help me with this problem? I wrote a complaint to Upwork, and Upwork has a policy, and this is where the problem is. Most freelancers don't read these policies. Upwork have rules, regulations, policies that you should read as a freelancer, so that when you get into trouble, you know what actually works, what they can help you, what their protection covers, and what their protection does not cover. So here is the thing. Upwork have what we call payment protection, and their payment protection is only for tracked hours. Now, for example, in hourly rate, we have two types of hourly rate contract. Now, there's the manual hours, where you work, you don't track your screen, you don't track your hours. After working, you, let's say you work for 10 hours, 10 hours, you upload that you work for 10 hours, and the client sees it, approves it, and bills you. Now, there's another one. This one is the one that most people use, where you put on your time tracker, you use Upwork time tracker, and you track your hours. The machine takes a screenshot of your screen for like every 10 minutes. I show the client, depending, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes. That way, Upwork has an evidence. So if you bring up a problem like this, that a client did not pay you for your work, and Upwork uses that evidence from the time tracker to like see you. Even if the client does something strange, removes his card, like in my case, what the client did was actually the client put his card for Upwork. We started the contract. He didn't fund the milestone, because there are two types of contracts on Upwork. There's a fixed price contract and there's an hourly rate. Let's say a client hires me for a fixed price of $300. The client is going to fund the $300, and Upwork is going to hold it in what we call escrow. So when I finish the project and I submit the project, they are going to, approve the client. Once their clients approve, then Upwork is going to release the payment to me, the freelancer, from escrow. But hourly rate contract is not that way. What the client did was he tricked me into accepting the contract. It was an hourly rate contract. They don't fund. You bill after you logged in hours. So when I finished, I logged in my hours. My hours was worth $300. And when it reached the time for the clients to pay, he actually removed this card from their system. So in that way, he took the job, he did not pay me, and he took out his card. And he actually was actually laughing. He told me in a DM that he's not going to pay me. But Upwork couldn't help me because I didn't track my hours. And that is the mistake I don't want you to make. Now, here I'm going to be showing 3 rules and 3 mistakes you need to avoid, and 3 rules you need to make so that you don't fall victim the same way I fell victim in this case. Now, first is first, I'm going to be showing how, like 3 rules, I'll show you 3 rules to avoid so that you don't fall victim to these cheap scams on Upwork. Now, the number one rule is do not touch anything before a project fund is available. For example, there are 2 things. Now, this is a contract. This is a $500 fixed price contract. And I'm going to be talking about 2 sides. The 2 types of contracts. I'm going to be talking about fixed price contract, and then I will talk about hourly rates after this. So now on the fixed price contract, you need to be careful. When I started on Upwork, it confused me. Estimated budget is not the project fund. Let me repeat myself. It's estimated budget is not the project funds. A client can write $1,000 on the estimated budget. Upwork does not know anything about it. This is the client just writing, just like in his Jota, just writing, okay, I'm budgeting $500 for this contract. It does not mean he has funded it. Look at what you should be looking at here. You should be looking at for the project funds. So if the project funds here, if there's no project fund, but only estimated budget, do not start any work. I'm not saying the client is a red flag. No, the client might be a good client, but don't start to be on the safe side. That's for the fixed price contract. Some clients might come to you and be like, okay, I'm going to be giving you the contract now. Let's say today is Friday. I'm going to give you the contract on Friday, but I'm going to be funding the project on Monday. Don't be in a haste. Don't go and do any work. You can tell the client, okay, no problem. Give me the contract, accept the contract, sign the contract, but wait for the client. Wait for the client on that month. Tell the client, okay, I'm going to wait for you. When you fund it, I can now start. To be on the safe side, because I've fallen victim to this more than twice. Look at what you should be looking at here. You should be looking at for the project fund. This is the main fund. Upwork does not know about this. The client can write whatever he wants. He can write that, okay, I'm funding with $50,000. It does not make any difference. This is the project fund here. So this is the main thing. What this means is that, okay, the client has paid $500, but not to me. The client has paid it, and Upwork is aware. So Upwork is holding the money till you are done with the project and the client is okay with it. Then the client can now authorize Upwork to release the $500 to you. So it's in what we call escrow. So please don't be in a hurry. This is that a client gave you a contract and you accepted does not mean all is cleared. No, all is not cleared until he funds the milestone or project. So this is for hourly. This is for fixed price. Now for hourly contracts has 2 types. There's the manual hours, and there's the what's it called? Like I've explained in this video before. There's a manual hours, and there's the one that has time tracker. Now for manual hours, it does not have Upwork payment protection. I know a lot of people use it, but I don't advise it, because when there will be problem, Upwork does not. It's not that Upwork is wicked or Upwork does not care. Upwork does not offer protection. So please, everybody should use the Upwork time tracker, track their hours, have some evidence, have screenshots, so that you avoid this kind of problem. The only way to avoid, one of my rules to avoid this problem is use fixed price. I actually prefer fixed price to hourly contract. Even if you must use hourly contract, let's say the client insists that you must use hourly contract, use the Upwork time tracker. That is all I have to say here. So there are another red flags to accept. Number 2 on the list of how to avoid this, how to learn from my experience, is when a client comes to you and the client insists on manual hours. That is a red flag. For example, when you're telling the client that you want to use a time tracker, or like when you tell a client that he should give you a fixed price contract and the client refuses and insists on an hourly contract. Now, if you insist on an hourly contract, you as a freelancer, you should insist on tracking your hours, and so that you can benefit from Upwork's hourly contract protection. If a client insists that the contract must be on manual hours, if not, he's going to look for another freelancer, let him go and look for another freelancer. That is an obvious red flag. The only way currently the clients can cheat you is by refusing to pay you when you log in manual hours, and Upwork does not cover the protection. And if the client has collected your job, the client is going to go scot-free. In my own case, not only did he go scot-free, he went scot-free, he was laughing at me, he even mocked me online. He called me a nigger. Upon all my evidence, I showed Upwork. Upwork told me that the rule is the rule. They apologized, obviously, but the rule is actually the rule. And they showed me their rules, and I read it, and I was like, that was what I learned all this thing from. So please don't fall into victim. Don't be like me. Have these two rules. First of all, go mostly for fixed price contract and wait for clients to fund the money. Make sure the money comes into the project fund before you can continue. If you must use hourly rates, use the Upwork time tracker. You can download the Upwork time tracker on your screen. It has the Upwork logo. Just type it on Google. You can see the link. Anytime you want to start working, you just put it on and track all your hours. So that what Upwork does is, if a client does not want to pay you, and you actually worked with the evidence of the Upwork time tracker, Upwork is going to bear responsibilities and they are going to pay you for those particular hours that the client did not pay. Then maybe penalize the client or whatever. So that's the best thing to do to, stay clear from this. Let me show you some of the red flags that you should avoid to avoid those kind of clients. Although I did my check-ins there, but then I was a bit careless. So let's go to the job feed here. Let me show you just a few things that you're going to use to spot out or filter out on serious clients. Let's see this job. This job is for an AI content creator here. Now, when you come here, the first thing you need to do here is to check the rating. So this client is rated 5.0. You can still have clients that are rated high, that have 5.0, that are still troublesome clients, but you just need to check. Any client you see like with 3.0, 2.0, or a very bad review, because this review are carried out from other freelancers, it shows that it's obvious. It obviously shows that the client, like, it's a troublesome client and have problem with freelancers. So check. Now, another thing to check is the higher rate. Any client you see that has a very low higher rate, I think you should leave you should know that the client, you should expect some problem from the client, and you should know that it will be difficult because this client has not been hiring a lot of people. But this client has like 16 job posted, 44% higher rate. Okay, not bad. Then check how many hires. One active, 8 hires. Okay, good clients here. So another thing, even after the 5.0, you should read comments from other freelancers. When you scroll down here, you should read what other freelancers are saying about the client. I think this is the best way to know the troublesome clients and the kind of clients you might be dealing with. So this you can see here. Spencer is highly professional. Okay, this one is to Freelancer. There are two comments here. This one is what the client said to Freelancer, and this is what the freelancer says to the client. A very easy client to work with. This one to the client. It was a pleasure working with him. You see that maybe the clients, it was a great experience working with Jamal. Now, you see that this client obviously has some green flags. And there's something I noticed. I had problem. There was another client I had problem with. After the problem, I didn't check all this. After the problem, I went back to the client's page and I checked, and I saw someone that said that the client scammed him of $600. So you see the mistake. If I saw that comment, if I checked some of these reviews from other freelancers, I wouldn't have accepted to work with that client. But because I ignored it, some people say if you ignore signs, you see wonders. I ignored the signs and I saw wonders. So this is another way I check. Just few of these things. It might not make sense to some people, but trust me, this is very, very, very important. This is things that you need to check, and you'll be on a very, very safe side. So I believe that towards the end of this video that you have understood what I meant, because the major aim of this video was not to crash out about me losing $300 to the clients, but to use my experience to teach other freelancers and open their eyes on the dangers of manual hours and starting a contract without Upwork contract protection, because you need to know the rules about the platform you're using so that the rules can favor you in times of problem like this. So thank you for watching this video up to the end here. My name is Final Touch. Make sure to like. If you loved contents like this, subscribe to my channel, and I will keep on bringing out more content like this to you guys. Thank you very much. See you on my next video. Bye.